Al Stenson, age 38, was a long-haul truck driver. His girlfriend, Marlene Pizarro, was a native of Puerto Rico. She took some college classes after graduating high school in Puerto Rico, and later transferred those credits to Warner University in the United States where she obtained her teacher's degree. She was a teacher for disabled children at Lake Wales High School, and she owned her own online business selling skin products. She described herself on Facebook as a doula. Marlene had 3 children, 21-year-old Darian, 17-year-old Adriana, and 11-year-old Kianis. Darian graduated from Lake Wales High School in 2019. Adriana was a senior at Wales High School. She was on the weightlifting team. She was scheduled to graduate in less than 2 weeks. Kianis attended Hillcrest Elementary School in Lake Wales. Al and Marlene had been dating for several years. The family lived at Sunrise Apartments in Waverly, Florida. Waverly, Florida, is located in east central Polk County. It's 55 miles east of Tampa. It has a population of less than 2,000 people. Although Stenson lived with Marlene, his truck driving kept him away from the home the majority of the time. Marlene traveled often back to Puerto Rico with her 3 children for summer breaks. She also enjoyed taking her kids to the local water parks. At 9 p.m. on Tuesday, May 2, family members visited Marlene's apartment and found a shocking scene. Marlene and all 3 of her children were dead from gunshot injuries. The shaken family member immediately called 911. When police arrived, they quickly determined the shootings occurred much earlier in the day. Somewhere around 5 a.m. police suspected that Stenson left the scene immediately after the shootings. Police put out a be on the lookout for Stenson. By Wednesday morning, detectives began working with Sanford Police Department and Seminole County Sheriff's Office. At around 5:30 a.m. a car was identified across the road from Slumberland Motel. Police identified Stenson walk across the street from the motel. Local agencies combined with the SWAT team immediately swarmed the motel. At this point, Stenson was back inside his motel room. Law enforcement began attempting to negotiate a peaceful surrender through his brother, who was also in the room with Stenson. Stenson told his brother to tell authorities that he would kill himself or force the police to kill him. Eventually the brother was able to safely exit the room, and a little later coax Stenson to step outside and lay down his gun. However, Stenson did not move away from the gun as directed. The SWAT team decided to use a less lethal option, which is a 40mm foam battalion. The less lethal option does not cause serious injury. It's used only to subdue a suspect. The battalion had no effect on Stenson. Stenson then began reaching for the gun. At that point, the SWAT team and the police department opened fire, killing Stenson. As soon as Stenson fell to the ground, authorities performed CPR, but it was to no avail. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are still investigating the motive for the horrific murders. They believe Stenson had some sort of argument with his girlfriend Marlene that led to him shooting her and all of her children. Authorities believe the shootings took place around 5 a.m. Then Stenson fled the scene to the motel where his brother was already staying. At some point in the evening, relatives of Marlene's arrived and found the bodies, leading to them contacting police. Marlene's friends and co-workers are left shattered. They have no idea what would have brought about such a tragic event. One close friend said that Marlene never mentioned her boyfriend or her life with him. She said Marlene was an exceptional teacher and mother. She said Marlene worked hard to become a teacher and finally had her life the way she wanted, and then this happens. Marlene's brother Julian Ramos spoke about the tragedy.
I don't really know how to start this off, but everything that's going on social media, everything that you say on the news is true. My beautiful sister and my beautiful nieces and nephews were killed. Who killed brutally.
Seminole County Sheriff Dennis Lemmer spoke to reporters at a press conference.
Worked so well at one time, our team was able to convince the suspect to actually exit the hotel room. Now, he was staying in a hotel directly next to his brother that was in the hotel. We were able to convince the brother to come out. We were able to take the brother to safety. He was no longer there. And then the negotiations were continuing for hours. I mean, the last thing we want to have to do is use lethal force. Ideally, we would like to talk somebody and bring them into custody. At one time, we were able to talk him into putting a handheld firearm down. Again, we don't know the caliber of the gun, but he had a handgun in his hand. He had a handgun in his pocket at one time. And as those negotiations continued, we were able to get him to place the gun down on the ground and step away from it. As he stepped away from the firearm on the ground, our SWAT team utilized what's called a less lethal option to allow us to go in there and apprehend the suspect. We successfully deployed that, but it had little effect on the suspect. The suspect immediately went for the gun on the ground. And at this time, we don't know if he actually picked the gun up, put it in his hand, but he was going for the firearm when three of our SWAT team members, one member of the specialized unit of the Sanford Police Department opened fire, neutralizing the threat, and the suspect is now deceased. Our effort, great participants with the SWAT team, were able to come over there. As soon as the suspect hit the ground, our SWAT team operators moved in. This is an incredibly difficult situation. One of our SWAT operators actually immediately started to administer CPR to the decedent after the shooting. Of course, that was unsuccessful, but our operator was then covered in the suspect's blood. And now we have asked FDLE to come in, as we typically do, to conduct a full and independent review and investigation of all the circumstances leading up to this case. What we know about Al Joseph Stenson, he's 38 years old. He has mild encounters with the criminal justice system. Many people would say they're pretty significant. He's been arrested a couple of times for burglary. He's had a couple of charges in the past for domestic violence, but we're still gathering his complete history to find out what was actually going on and all of those circumstances and details. This time, I'll turn it over to Chief Cecil Smith to see if he has anything that he would like to add.
You know, it's a great opportunity for us to show that the unifiedness that we have within Seminole County. When we were locating this individual at 2 o'clock this morning, our officers realized that something was wrong, and that immediately reached out to the sheriff's department to say, hey, listen, we need to put something together to try to bring this to an end. The unfortunate end is that this individual chose to end it in the manner in which he did. As the sheriff has indicated, it's still a very active investigation. FDLE is doing their part at this point. We're making sure that our officers, the officers that were involved, are being taken care of, and we will continue to provide the best service we possibly can here in Seminole County.
Was his brother living in the hotel? Was he staying there prior, or did they both come here together?
From what we have right now, it appears that they both got here at the same time.
Any of his other family members here with him?
As far as we know, it's just his brother.
Will the brother face any charges at all?
We'll leave that up to the state's attorney to make that decision.
There was a ring it up, Chief. Slumberland Motel is a bit of a well-known locally, but it's not exactly, what you would imagine somebody would pick as their destination. So you just think that he was leaving the scene of whatever occurred in Lake Wales and randomly picked that spot?
Well, Dave, I think it's important to mention that his brother was already here. So he went here because he's in the hotel room next to his brother.
Okay, so I guess that wasn't clear to me. Why was his brother already here?
His brother was living here.
In the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So his brother was here prior
Correct.
to him showing up this morning?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't clear the first time around. So he had a family member already in Sanford at the Slumberland, and he reunited, if you will, with his brother.
I would say he was staying at the hotel. As you know, Slumberland is a day-to-day, week-to-week type of hotel. So to say that he's a resident, I would not classify him as a resident, but he was staying in the hotel.
But the brother was already here long before whatever happened in Lake Wales.
I'm going to say that's correct.
Yeah, I don't know that long before. I don't know that we know how long he's been here, but he was here.
It wasn't hours.
I don't know. Do you guys know? We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
As far as the other people who were at the hotel when this happened, did they all evacuate? What happened there?
Essentially, we had many of them stay in place, shelter in place. There were a couple of people who we moved out of the hotel when we felt that it was safe enough to do that.
Was there any? What was the danger? How would you describe the danger to those people?
Considering that they had been in constant conversation with him, both inside and outside the hotel, we don't believe that there was that great of a threat. But we wanted to make sure that they were safe, so we did move some of the individuals who we could. But those who were really connected to that room, we made them shelter in place.
I do want to wrap just by, again, commending the actions of these officers that are out here. We never take for granted the way that they train, the way that they prepare. Nobody wants to come into work on a day like this and actually have to use lethal force. But the way they've responded, the way that they put themselves in harm's way in work, is a blessing to our community and our organizations. And from our perspective, they handled this thing with textbook precision. Negotiations going on, try to neutralize the threat, got him to walk away from the weapon, used a less lethal option. He went for the gun. They put him down and then immediately started to administer CPR to him. That is a lot for these folks to take on, and I think that our community should be incredibly grateful that men and women will take on this career and this passion to be able to do.
Sheriff, people are wondering if he put his firearm down, why fire the gun?
This guy is a murderer, a threat, and he did not fully comply with the orders to walk far enough away from the firearm where we felt like he could not get to it in a matter of time where he could present a threat to the officers that were on scene. This wasn't a scenario that he put the firearm down, he placed his hands behind his back, he walked a distance away from the firearm. Should those circumstances have occurred, we would have taken him into custody. He was close enough proximity to the firearm where he still presented a threat to the people that were on scene.
Family and friends held a vigil for Marlene and her 3 children on Wednesday, May 3rd. Funeral services were held on Wednesday, May 10th in 2023 at the Oasis Church in Winter Haven, Florida. Men who murder their wives or girlfriends and then either his own children or his stepchildren are some of the most disturbing cases to hear on the news. For most people it's incomprehensible that anyone could do such a horrific act. Over a third of women killed in the United States are killed by their male partners. According to the Bureau of Justice statistic, over 80% of fatal family violence is carried out by men. A study published in the Journal of Forensic Sciences reviewed cases of 153 males and female killers who were convicted in Indiana, Colorado, Arizona, Missouri, and Illinois. With over 1,500 hours of interviews, researchers found that men involved in spontaneous family murders were more likely to have lower intelligence, cognitive impairment, mental illness, and have few felony convictions compared to other types of murders. It was also discovered that these men were generally involved in drugs or alcohol or both. And many times are driven by a breakup of the relationship fueled by revenge or jealousy. Let's look at some warning signs. The abuser may attempt to isolate you from your friends and family. Usually the goal is to make you think he's the only one who really loves you. Once he has you isolated away from those who truly do care, the abuse usually will escalate. The abuser becomes extremely jealous and possessive, even with family and close friends. The abuser will get angry and begin to say things to make you feel unattractive and worthless. They want you to truly believe these things, so you'll feel they're the only person in the world who will love you. The abuser cannot take responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else's fault for their behavior. The abuser will intimidate his victim with threats of violence or even death. They may also threaten violence to the victim's family members and friends to keep the victim in line. The abuser may accuse you of cheating even though there's no foundation to the claim. The abuser may treat you more like a child than an equal. The abuser may use drugs or alcohol excessively. When the abuser does something horrific, such as physical or verbal abuse, they will manipulate the situation by showering the victim with affection and gifts. The behavior is almost never a result of remorse but control. It's to make the victim feel obligated to stay. What caused Stenson to murder his longtime girlfriend and her children? Was she breaking up with him? Did she confront him about something? Was he a malignant narcissist who couldn't handle the rejection or criticism? Anyone who can take the lives of innocent children could be deemed a narcissist. That person feels they have the right to end the lives of others. Stenson had no empathy when he snuffed out the lives of Darian, Adriana, and Kianis. These children had the right to grow up and live long and happy lives, but Stenson decided he would play God. Nobody has that right. May Marlene, Darian, Adriana, and Kianis all rest in peace. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.
Want to help support the channel you love, and get something in return? Simply purchase some Elizabeth's Chronicles merch. We have coffee mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, cozy blankets, beach towels, phone covers and more. Use the coupon code EC10OFF4U and get 10% off your order. The link to order is in the description area below this video. Thanks for helping Elizabeth's Chronicles continue to make the videos you love.